It was time to find the home that Yusuf Shibble had told me about back in Beirut, the home he fled from 45 years ago, the home to which he cannot return. He had, after all, drawn me his own map of how to find it. And there it was, 45 years on, with the same trees that Yusuf Shibble's family had planted in the garden. I told the Israelis there how Yusuf Shibble left the home they now regard as theirs. Old Zvi Gross had moved in 2 years after Mr. Shibble fled Palestine and had handed the house on, legally under Israeli law, to his son. What do you feel about Mr. Shibble, the man who used to live here and whose home this was and who left?
מאחר ואני לא מכיר את האדון הנכבד שהיה גר פה לפני כן, אין לי רגשות כלפיו. אני מאוד אשמח אם הוא יגיע לפה ואני אוכל להכיר אותו, ואז אני אוכל לפתח רגשות כלפיו. מהסיפורים שלכם שמעתי שהוא בן אדם מאוד נחמד, בן אדם מאוד פתוח. ואם אנחנו בני אותה דעה, אז וולקאם, תבואו לכאן, שתי כוס קפה איתנו.
Zvi Gross was a Holocaust survivor from Poland. As a young man, he was living in the small Polish town of Trebinia when the Germans invaded. He was in his family home when the Nazis came to round up the Jews.
אחר כך באו, פתחו את הדלת בכוח, הכניסו הביתה, ראוס, 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 כולם ראוס. אני חיביתי בתוך המיטה, ככה, בשני מיטות סוגות, אז הכנסתי עליי, ככה, הם עשו עם זה, עם בגנטים. לקחו את האבא, לקחו את כולם מהבית, לרנק, איפה שוק. שם היה במחנה עובד, הוא היה אדם בריא. ב-44 היה כולם חולים לטיפוס. הוא מת מאחרונים. אח שלי לקחו אותו למחנה, הוא היה במחנה, ושם נפטר. באיזה שנה אני לא יודע. הוא לא חזר הביתה.
And this is your mother, this is your grandmother, is it?
Yes.
What happened? Now, your mother, she was killed by the Nazis.
מטר הלכה למחנה רקורס, היא שמה הלכה ישר למשרפה, לגזים. היא לא יודעת היום מה היה, פטרבלינקה.
And do you know what year this happened in? What date exactly?
43.
Now, as I understand it, one road comes down here, your houses 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there's a factory. Now, is this correct as it is? There's a road here, another refugee, and a factory. Another map. Where is Rennick? Where is Rennick here?
Rennick's there.
Rennick is here?
Yeah.
And this is the factory at this place here?
Yeah.
Okay. And all this is Trebinia?
כן, Trebinia, כן.
Is it the west or the east side of Trebinia?
זה רנק היה מצד זה. מצד זה. וזה היה...
Before the war, Trebinia was a Jewish town. Today there are no Jews. Hitler saw to that. Well, Mr. Gross's map has Rennick here, this is Rennick. But which way round is it?
This is the question.
Well, if it's this way, his house is down there on the end, because that's Rennick. The Rennick corner is down there, isn't it?
Yeah, but if you turn it the other way.
Yes, it means he's up here. Well, there must be people here who are alive. Let's go find someone who can come.
When the Germans came to Trebinia, they took all the Jews. And he saw the Germans entering each single house. And they were driving them all out into the street.
What does he feel in his heart when he thinks of those people who are dead now?
Well, man tends to forget after some time. Sometimes when he lies down, it all shows up in front of him, all those people from the past. But it's such a long time. And you just forget things.
No.
Even after death, the Jews of Treblinka had their enemies. Some of the Jews killed in the Holocaust were buried here. After the war, a few survivors returned to restore the cemetery. But now it's been desecrated, and no one knows who did it. On her way to the Treblinka death camp, we know that Mrs. Gross was taken in a sealed train across this river. And we know that the train stopped here to change locomotives and moved into this forest. A symbolic graveyard of boulders now stands on the spot where 800,000 Jews, among them Mrs. Gross, were murdered. This is the photograph of a Jewish lady called Mrs. Gross. She comes from Treblinka and she was sent to Treblinka during the war. Is there any way we can find out what happened to her?
Proszę Państwa, jest kłopot, ponieważ nie odzyskano żadnej dokumentacji. Obóz był likwidowany w 1943 roku. Hitlerowcy bądź zniszczyli, bądź wywieźli. Nie mamy żadnych dokumentacji odnośnie ludzi, którzy tu zginęli. Wiemy natomiast z jakich miast.